Adik sa'yo.
Let's talk about the elements of music. There are three elements, and these are the melody, harmony, and rhythm. This song is actually performed by a band, and the rhythm section for a band is composed of the drummer, the bass guitarist, and the rhythm guitarist. And then the one who covers the melody is actually the lead guitarist. Now, as for the rhythm, actually rhythm is present in every melody and every harmony. Uh, Rhythm is actually the more complicated element in music, but basically rhythm is about playing time. But there's more to it. But basically, you can think of it as the playing time. So if you're going to play this song all by yourself, then more likely you'll have to carry the load of the rhythm section. Because if you do the melody, it's not gonna sound good if you're going to play the melody of the song. Actually, the singer is the one who performs the melody of the song, aside from the lead guitarist. A lead guitarist does the melody of the song. It's very obvious or evident when you listen to the solo of a song or the instrumental part of a song. But for the whole song, it's actually the singer who's performing or carrying the melody, the bulk of the melody. And the rhythm section is actually the load of the drummer, the bassist, and the rhythm guitarist. So if you're going to play this song all by yourself, then the section that you have to carry is the rhythm section. So you have to be able to arrive at a particular pattern or a certain pattern where you can encompass the whole rhythm section. And this is very critical. There are very few guitarists who are really good at rhythm. So you have to be able to figure out the appropriate rhythmic pattern. Because if not, you might not be able to give the right feel of the song. So for this lesson, we're going to talk about rhythm. We're going to talk about playing time, time signature, and the tempo. Earlier, I've mentioned about the elements of music, the rhythm, the melody, and the harmony. But I have not discussed the harmony element there. So we're going to talk about it a bit. Harmony is actually when there are three or more notes played at the same time. Now that's harmony. For this song, um, it's like there are several melodic lines that are played together. And so when these melodic lines are played together or simultaneously, they create harmony. But if you listen carefully, you would seldom hear a chord they're playing except when they do the B flat and the A, where they strum ones for B flat and ones for A. But for the majority part of the song, you could hear melodic lines, several, like two or three melodic lines. And these are different melodic lines. But when these melodic lines are played simultaneously or running together in parallel, then they create harmony. Another thing is when you play a chord or a series of chords or a sequence of chords, then you're playing the harmony element of the song. So if you're going to play the song, when you play the chords that you've learned, then you'll be playing the harmony or you're carrying the harmony section of the song. And how you play those chords, the playing time of those chords, now that would give the rhythm of the song. So the chords that you have learned, those are enough for you to be able to, carry the harmony. But the more important or more significant thing or aspect for the song, or for you if you're going to play the song all by yourself, is to have a certain rhythm. and we're going to talk about rhythmic patterns. For this song, I'm gonna suggest to you 8 rhythmic patterns. We're gonna discuss each part. I mean each pattern as we progress the song. You are about to play the song and getting closer to um, learning the rhythmic patterns. But before we could decide the appropriate rhythmic patterns for this song, we need to know the other factors that involve in figuring out for a rhythmic pattern. And these are we need to know the time signature of the song, and then the tempo, and the playing time of each chord. So let's discuss first the time signature. Time signature is actually tells the number of beats in every measure. Each music or song is actually in equal number divided in number of measures, and each of these measures are of equal in length. Each measure contains a number of beats. So if the time signature of a song is like say 2/4, then that means you have 2 beats for every measure. So you're gonna count 1 2 1 2 1 2. But if the time signature of the song is 3/4, that means there are 3 beats in a measure. So you're gonna count 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. And if the song is written in 4/4 time signature, then that tells you there are 4 beats in a measure or in every measure. So you're gonna count up to 4. 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, right? The time signature of the song is actually 4/4. So that means there are 4 beats in every measure. And so we have to count up to 4. I'm going to play the audio. One, two, three, four. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. See, it's written in 4/4 time signature because the counting up to 4 fits to the groove of the song. And how fast or how slow I count the numbers, that would give the tempo. Since I have to count those numbers this fast, like 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. So it's like the tempo is moderate, not slow, but not fast. A slow tempo would be like 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. Now that's not the beat of the song or the pulse of the song, right? But it's 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. But it's not this fast. 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, right? So that's the tempo of the song. Actually, how to figure out the tempo of the song, whether it's fast or slow, all you have to do is try to clap your hands along with the song. And each time you clap, that would give you the beat, right? Or where the beats are. So tempo can be determined by figuring out pulse of the song. So I'm gonna continue the audio, right? So 1 2 3 4 1. See, my clapping is in sync with the pulse of the song. You can actually tap your foot if you don't wanna clap your hands. You would notice also that the tempo is consistent. I mean, the tempo is the same throughout the whole song. It doesn't slow down, it doesn't speed up. There are some songs with several tempos in it, but this song has just one tempo, except for the ultimate chord where the tempo slowed down. We'll cover that later. And now that we have figured out the tempo of the song, next thing you need to know is the playing time of each chord. Now we're going to talk about playing time for each chord. And the playing time for each chord is actually how many beats get into a particular chord before you move to the next chord. So for example, if you do if a chord has to be played for 8 beats, and then that means the playing time of that chord is 2 measures. And then let's say the next chord is also played for 8 beats, so that means the next chord also played for 2 measures. And so you really have to count, so you'd know how many beats would go into a particular chord. But many songs have varying playing time for those chords. There are some chords that are played for 2 measures, and suddenly you have chords that are played 1 measure only. And sometimes there are 2 chords in a measure. So that's what we're gonna find out. I'm gonna play the audio again, and we're gonna figure out how many beats would get into each chord. Since we know the tempo, that would help us really be able to figure out how many beats would get into each chord. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's like that. For B flat, it gets 4 beats before you move to A. And A is actually played for covers 4 beats, but it's a bit different actually because there's a break there. So we're gonna discuss more about that later. Now let's continue to the first line of the song. The first line of the song, if you have the chord sheet with you, it tells you that the for the verse line that goes adik sa'yo, abit sa akin, nilang sawa na sa amin. Mga kwentong marathon, right? And the sequence of the chords is G followed by E minor, and then A minor, and then you have the D, and then the G, and then the B flat A, right? So let's figure out how many beats would get into G before we move to the next chord, E minor, and let's figure out also how many beats would go to E minor, and then how many beats would be for A minor, how many beats D would be played, and how many beats that will go to G, and then how many beats for B flat, and then for A. So I'm gonna rewind the song from the very beginning, and let's see. For G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That's 2 measures. Now E minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then A minor, 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 1, 2, 3, 4. G, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So the first line of the song goes this way. G is played for 2 measures or 8 beats. E minor is also played for 8 beats or 2 measures. But A minor is played just for 1 measure or 4 beats, as well as D, and as well as the next G after the D major chord. But the B flat and the A that follows G, they are actually in a split measure. B flat starts on beat 1, it continues to beat 2, but at beat number 3, that's the next chord already, which is A, right? So I want you to look at your chord sheet and start making some notes on your copy on how many beats each of these chords would be played before you move to the next chord. So basically, I just want you to start figuring out the playing time of every chord that you can find in the song. So you need to count. You need to remember the tempo, and you have to count steady and evenly, so that you'll be able to get the right number of beats for every song, for every chord. Sorry. So all you have to do is play the audio, and while you're playing the audio, listen, and then be on tempo, and then count the number of beats that would go for each chord.
Ang puso mong biglang lumisan. At may kapiling ng iba.